Hey fellow fans! Today we're going to try to give a name to a phenomenon that I'm sure we're all familiar with. If you've ever said or heard someone say the phrase, I just want to hear that band's early stuff, or their early stuff is their best stuff, then this video is likely for you.
So fetch. What is fetch? Oh, it's like slang.
So we're going to try to make fetch happen today by making up a word for said phenomenon. And the word is nostalgiacore.
There's this thing that I didn't know it had a term.
Right now, if you Google nostalgiacore, you'll get pictures of like 90s McDonald's play places. Our definition is more applicable to this word, but whatever. This is the internet. We can do whatever we want. Back in early December 2020, I put a definition on Urban Dictionary. The definition for nostalgiacore is a segment of aging rock music that elicits longing or affection for the past, typically performed by an artist that has continued making music but is most associated with the era of their early or hit songs. So let's break that down. What I think of as a segment of aging rock music that elicits longing or affection, that's really just like older music that brings up nostalgic feelings. For me, that is our emo night era music. So that's pop punk, emo, post-hardcore from 1999 to 2006. I feel like that's a solid range. I anticipate many people saying, hey, why is like the pop punk, emo, post-hardcore scene the nostalgiacore scene? And my reply would be, I feel like this is some of the most nostalgic music based on the fact that we have emo nights and participants in the emo nights act like the bands are actually there. Going back and being like, man, when this music was popular, I was having the best time of my life. Although I was bitching about it sucking, and that's why I listened to this music. We also really see this with acts like Emo's Not Dead. This dude pretty much blew up because we are so nostalgic for this music. He really captured the comedy that goes along with still being a diehard fan for this era.
Why are you like this?
While it was 15 to 20 years ago.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
So, yeah. Of course, nostalgia is closely tied to personal experience, personal taste. Obviously, if you're a little older or a little younger, the bands that I bring up might not be nostalgiacore for you. Others can say hair rock and the like are nostalgiacore, but I defined it, I put on Urban Dictionary, so this is what I'm going with. So that's the first part of this definition. Then we've got typically performed by an artist that has continued making music. So this is essential to nostalgiacore. If the band is still active, as in they're still releasing new music, or they're still going on tour. An easy way to also explain this is a band who went on hiatus and came back. Last part of this definition is crucial to it, and is most associated with the era of their early or hit songs. So I want to emphasize songs here. We already have the phrase one-hit wonder, so nostalgiacore isn't necessarily that. It is usually going to be a group with multiple hits that really help define a part of the scene or a genre of music. This is really where that part of I only want to listen to their early stuff when I go see them live comes into play, and I don't say that as a closed-minded thing. That's their best stuff, so that's what we want to hear. I think that's a fair thing to say. So now that we broke down the definition and we understand what nostalgiacore is, I want to help further that understanding by giving some cold takes, some easy examples as to what this is. So the coldest take, the easiest example I can think of from this era is Green Day. So I've mentioned that they are nostalgiacore in the first YouTube video I made because American Idiot was kind of the beginning of the end for what I think was Green Day's best music. I think Dookie, when I think their best era, Warning, American Idiot, while there was some really good songs there and obviously was huge for the scene, but it really was kind of the end for the band. They have continued to make music. They are still trying to tour, but we can see from the last few releases that they have had, whether it's because they're just trying to get out of a contract or this is really their sound now, it's bad. It's just bad. I don't think anybody over the age of like 15 can listen to it and say that this is amazing music. So they are a prime example of nostalgia-core. Speaking of the Hella Megatour, another prime example for nostalgia-core is Fall Out Boy. Take This to Your Grave made a huge impact on me, followed up with From Under the Cork Tree. This music was just everything to little preteen me. Unfortunately, these guys have totally fallen off the map to where when I was trying to get tickets for Hella Megatour, I considered not even trying because I'm scared of what Fall Out Boy will play. I don't even know if they play Take This to Your Grave anymore because that sound versus whatever is on the radio now are just on completely different spectrums. This is a band who did come back from a hiatus. I remember when they came back and I was so excited. Save Rock and Roll, I think, is the album that was their return album. There are a few good tracks on that, but it was really the beginning of the end, or a continuation of the end because they'd already gone on hiatus. So, Fall Out Boy, I'm sorry, but we gotta stamp you with nostalgia-core. Blink-182, again, a great, iconic band who changed the face of rock music, broke hearts everywhere when they broke up. People rejoiced when they came back from hiatus, and I was definitely one of them. Was it Neighborhoods was the album that they had when they came back? Tom was still part of the project. I think that album, similar to Fall Out Boy's post-hiatus, had some good songs on it, but really, I think the following albums for both bands just never really lived up to the iconic music they made before. The addition of Matt Skiba put these guys hard into the nostalgia-core camp, and what really solidified it
Blink-182 is taking over.
Was the residency in Las Vegas.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Once you do a residency in Vegas, I think you're in the hard nostalgia-core camp. Doesn't mean I don't love these guys to death, but that's kind of this whole video, and you just want to listen to their early stuff when you go see them live, and I think they know it too. Seeing Blink-182 live for the longest time was bucket list item number 1 for me, and when I finally saw them, it was post-hiatus, Matt Skiba, Blink-182, which I'm sure a lot of us have strong feelings about, and that's why they are in our nostalgia-core camp. Another band that changed my life, Taking Back Sunday. Their early albums are iconic. I think if you've seen Taking Back Sunday live in the last few years, you understand that they are nostalgia-core. Because people still freaking go crazy when the old stuff is played, and that includes me. They are hard in the nostalgia-core camp. Now that we've given some examples, let's give some non-examples. I think a thread that runs through our non-examples is that while they've been around for 10 plus years, these bands have continued to evolve. So a really popular example from this era is Paramore. While not everybody's cup of tea, you cannot deny that their music has continued to get better and better. Their sound is very different from their Red Couch days. Their music is still objectively good, it's just a very different lane. But I respect that they've continued to evolve, and you can even just see that in Hayley Williams as a person. Things like Paramore no longer playing their arguably biggest hit, and that people are still really excited to go see them live goes to show that Paramore is not nostalgia-core. Thrice is a great example of not being nostalgia-core. We can all think back to the Deadbolt days and really love that music, but the band has always been evolving. We can see this evolution from like the Deadbolt days to Visu to Alchemy Index to today, where they're doing songs like Black Honey and Beyond the Pines. While Thrice has mellowed out a lot, their music is still so good, and when you see them live, because people are kind of going crazy the entire set. So Thrice, not nostalgia-core. Want to bring up Buffalo's Sweetest Boys. Every Time I Die. These guys have been in the scene since the early 2000s and continue to kill it, and their fan base is loyal as ever, so much so that they are the economy for Buffalo. Keith Buckley, I don't know what they're putting in his water.
No, that's the good stuff.
But their music continues to be great. That's why their fan base is still so loyal to this day. They are not nostalgia-core. I'll include some other examples that I heard people share with me or that I also think make the cut. So this is me trying to make nostalgia-core happen. Please tell me in the comments who you agree with, who you disagree with, who I missed, or if you think nostalgia-core is stupid and that it doesn't exist.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Fight me in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Like, subscribe if you're into that, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.